Well, hello everyone. Don't see anyone here yet. There we go. Missy Robinson. I'll wait for a few moments, see if a few more are joining before I begin. Hi, Sharon, Jimmy, Sharon. Hey, you guys. Love and kisses. Big hugs as well, and much peace. Hey, Shannon, Christine, John King. Hey, you guys. Thanks for joining in, and many others. Uh, Anyone tonight, again, please don't ask questions until the end. What I'll do is I'll open it up for questions at the end. So when I say that, I see I'm fluctuating in time here. So when I say questions, then it'll be best to type them then, and perhaps I can answer a few more than what I normally do. So we'll see how this goes. Um, okay, great. First thing, a great shift did occur around May 31st, June 1st. Since that time, a few days ago, uh, I've been in touch with just only a few divine comrades, and some of the reports that I was getting from their experiences, let's say interdimensional and heightened experiences. And we can also say that these experiences would be considered perhaps impossible to a normal person. However, we know that everything is possible with this ascension, with us, and where we're going. So it's always great, to get these confirmations. And, I, for one, but I know many of you, we don't really need these confirmations, but it is great when we get them. And it's so important for any of you, all of us, to continuously share these very profound, what could be considered impossible experiences, because it goes a long ways. It assists with the collective and so many individuals to also allow them to overcome the confines of fear in regards to society saying they're nuts or what have you. And what it does is it opens up the door for them to enhance their abilities even further when they, openly share with that and come forward. Because at that point, when they're able to, let's say, come out of the closet with their profound experiences, they have at that point just mastered an important aspect of fear. And by not letting society control them and confine them. So it's actually like a little leap of faith when they do that, which eradicates the fear, doubt that they may have. And, they break through that suppression as well that society has there. They break through the taboos, if you will, too, of not speaking about these things. And as we know, we are in these most glorious times that, and growing very rapidly, that we're at the point now that, as many of you know, if you speak openly about a cool, profound, even perhaps impossible experience, that it's not rejected like it was before. And it is totally more accepted because also it's indicative of the great times we truly are in with this ascension. So having said that, yes, a huge shift did occur I saw others mentioning incoming waves, over the last few days. Amanda Lawrence quickly put out, just a couple short posts saying another incoming wave and what have you. It's been up and down. It's a mixed bag now. Some may feel the high energetic jolt, but others may feel, some lower density things. And the reason why that is now is because we have so many at so many different levels, and each one is going through their own things. So again, uh, because we have so many more awakened and coming into their gifts, uh, one thing does not apply for the whole collective anymore. In the beginnings, in the beginnings of the awakening and the collective, when it was smaller, you would have common things occurring. For example, everyone would have an eye ache. But now, because we expanded further and there was new waves of ascending ones coming in, you got an entire mixed bag of ascension symptoms. You have ones that are, they're just jumping with high vibration, while you'll have others at the same time are more or less bedridden with a certain density. So, having said that, what held true before no longer holds true, that everyone experiences the same thing at the same time. And that's because there's different levels of advancements with ones, particularly with their uh, physical vessels. So, everyone is different to some degree. So it's important to, note that, and also do not judge, others with it. And we always assist others when we can. And we need this understanding that everyone is indeed unique. However, that if you come across them and that they are ascending, assist them in whatever way you can, or maybe they don't need assistance. That's fine as well. But it's always great to, if you're up, sitting on a high vibration, you see someone down, reach your hand down, just make contact. Even if you talk with them, it assists. So it's great. So I won't linger on that too long. Many exercises. I put a couple exercises out again today, and these are important and they are divinely timed as well. Now, having said this, Broder Badal, I believe is how you say his last name. Broder is doing a very impressive job with his group, and perhaps some or many of you are also part of those energetic exercises in the group, what they're doing. However, I am taking more of a particular notice with it, and I am recognizing it as being also in line more fully now with things that I do and I share and I teach. So I recognize Broder as a very powerful divine comrade, and let me say my utmost gratitude for the work that Broder is doing. So uh, much love to you, Broder, and thank you so much. This is what we need is ones like this that are taking the extra step and go out and do your energetic work for the good for all, of which we are. So the crystals, I'd like to touch on that. One of the reasons why, I got to look at my notes here. Well, one of the reasons we needed to clean these crystals again, there are several reasons, is in preparation for what's to come. Much more light is coming now from the sun because of, you could look at it, they're not labeling it as a sunspot, but it's an active region on the sun which delivers a specific light for us. So it has turned. It will be here for approximately 11 days. I'm receiving. So we are going to have full benefits of this powerful energy to assist us in this next week or so, 10, 11 days at least. There could be more coming after that. And it's possible to have a steady, high energetic influx for the light with this. And as many of you know, that we were in a lull a bit ago, but we have come out of that and we're rising very quickly. And, many are getting stronger every day and learning that it is truth, what they need to do with their energetic fields. So overall, as a collective, we are back on track. Um, and so we are doing fine with everything in respect to that. So it's awesome, and nothing stops this ascension, as you know. No one is left behind per se. We keep going forward with it. So no fear with that. So it's great. So yeah, the crystal arrays. Let me say that. What is the best way to put this? But first, we needed these cleared up because so many of you are so powerful and you use these frequencies in your divine work. And it's always great, as anyone knows, to keep them cleansed. However, it's a great thing for everyone at this time, cleansing them for this period going forward, making sure they're up to optimal frequency, and that their condition is, the ultimate, if you will. So that's very important for what's going to be transpiring over the next several days. And also in conjunction with Broder, what they're doing as well. Some of you, if you don't already look at it, I suggest that, if you have time, perhaps look at what they're doing in that energetic group as well. So great. Hi, Tien. Good to see you, brother. Just thinking a little bit ago how much I love you, Tien, too. You're a great friend. So having said that, yeah, keep your crystals clean. See, there is another thing that does occur sometimes, and let's say the dark. Let's be specific. That the dark cannot utilize the frequency of the crystals. They cannot directly connect with them the way that you can. So when they wish to interfere with things, what they will tend to do is they will perhaps get one that has crystals charged. And even though the one that they may get has not um, fully trust their discernment, are still going through their processes, that they can be tricked by the darkness to use their crystal energy to fulfill an ulterior ill intent agenda. And this is why, so to just bypass that without giving the explanation, just everyone that it resonates with, clean your crystals, make sure that there's nothing that is having a sort of influence over you to use your crystals in a manner that is not with the intent for the good of all, to say the least. So it's always good. And again, what I've seen here in the past, these things do occur, and that's why I'm bringing it up. So we don't need to energize it that they do occur, but you need to be aware of the fact that it does occur, and then you energize it from the opposite by just cleaning your crystals and saying, good, the darkness cannot do anything with none of mine, and trust what you do. And this is very important. Any of you that have touched crystals in the past, that have energized them, any of you that have crystals out at certain locations during our grid work. You are, no matter if you're 1,000 miles from them now, you bless them with your mentality and cleanse those also. I didn't put that in the post, so I'm giving it to you now as well. So this is great. So yeah, also, what am I looking at this? Yeah, it's also just not, we're getting rid of anchors onto our energy. We're also purifying it for greater things to come here very rapidly. So it's good. Okay, we got a few more exercises coming up because we wish to take advantage of this heightened light energy that will be coming in from the sun. And it's the perfect time to do that. You got ones vibing high. For the most part, the collective will be vibing high. And what you will have is more effect on creating the new and building the new. With that statement, I would wish to say that I'm going to give you one thing to think about, to consider, to ponder very much. And I will be putting out a post perhaps on this in the near future. One thing that it may be good for you to look at within your heart. Do you wish to stay in this reality, this mundane reality? Do you wish to exert your energy at trying to patch this reality up? Or do you feel it would be better to just put all of your energy into creating the new reality, a harmonious one? That's very important to consider. Now, to assist you with looking at that again, know that your family members do and can come with you into this other reality. And because things are not as they seem, not as humanity was taught. We are in an unprecedented time where more of the ancient knowledge, more of the divine knowledge, more of the truth is being delivered to you. You are ascending out of the human experience, and this is why things will change. And also, this is why your truths or your beliefs in one day can change to the next. And it's why it's so important to keep open with this as well, because you were in your human experience that applies to here. What you are and what you've been given a little bit of knowledge on is something much different than this, and it's best to keep open on that. So you got the light coming in. Remember that it only takes 8 minutes and 20 seconds for any light activity on the sun to reach the surface area. And that's a good thing to keep in mind because of any photon, uh, higher photon light projections, you're almost getting them instantly. For example, if they say there was a CME on the sun and that it may brush Earth in 2 days' time, that does not hold true for you. If a CME occurs because of the photonic light, what we use and what we are, in about 8 minutes, it's with you. You're affected by it. And many of you will know as well by studying the space weather site, which I put up periodically. If you study the graphs and look at your solar flares, you can pinpoint times when you felt dizzy or felt a lot of energy, dense energy coming in, that you could pinpoint it to solar flares or other aspects of your charts. And your charts are in the ACE department, ACE, on the top left of your screen. to look at some of your charts for the densities, the gamma, and the speeds, and all of these. And Pamela Johnson, she's right up on a lot of this. So it's great, perhaps for uh, any of you that don't already follow or look at Pam. She's great, and she's right up on it, and you get some good, authentic information from her quick too. And thank you, Pam. It's so grateful having you as a divine comrade as well. You're very important and you're very special. Thank you. Um, so also, yeah, so we are setting up, well, it's already occurring, but this strong light, again, it's very enhanced. So with this, there should be many profound things, interdimensional things. It could get very wonky in good ways with this. The key is do not have any fear around any what you would call weird things occurring, because the moment you have fear, boom, you block yourself and you shut yourself off from it. And I need to stress this again. With this ascension, there's no need to fear anything. And the keys to ascend higher is letting go of all fear and trust with it. So it's important. And don't worry about going through a portal and not coming back, because no, you come back if you need to and when you need to. So don't have any fear of that. It's more important for you to have the experience and to bring back information to share with the others as well. So really, no one really leaves that way. So great. So with the skies, mentioned a few, perhaps a week or so ago, to keep your eyes on the skies. I see a few things myself mentioned, and I do know that constantly now there are things occurring in the sky. Great things that you're not manifesting that are actually put there uh, from a higher entity of good and light. So it's great. So it's excellent. So lots of things in the skies. Uh, Okay, one thing, I put out the other day, sometimes I'll put out what looks like odd things and on the timelines. One of the things is what I do is I purvey and I teach to all levels. So again, anyone following, use your own resonation feature, your own discernment, if it's anything you need to know, if it pertains to you or not. However, it's great too not to judge it that it may not be a truth, because it may be a truth for someone else at that level that they need. So this is important as well to understand that not everyone is at the same levels with it. And I've always pretty well said this, that I preach, if you will, to all levels to assist. And sometimes I got to go down uh, deep there in the darkness to assist some to come up out of it, and I do it. So I'm all over the place in that respect, as you know. So I just wish to reiterate that. There's so having said that, with brotherhoods, sisterhoods, groups, etc., what you need to know, what occurred in the past again, is that these genuine groups, they began and they're set up with the best intent, with noble intent, the intent for the good of all. But what occurred on the lower levels is that you would have the infiltration of the darkness, and they would come in and trick ones to use their power actually against them and to hijack their power. So what you need to know, with these brotherhoods and sisterhoods, there's a very genuine facets of them. However, it's very important to use your discernment and your heart resonation, not to get caught up into things that may be disempowering you. Now, with your energy in any of these groups, when you're using your Merkaba energy, really, you should be bringing it up and out through the right side of your head. You should not be doing any of this looping, anything like that, and also energizing anything in this reality. Now, it's your choice if you wish to do that, but one of the main reasons why I say don't do that is because if you're only bringing it up, keeping it looped, you're also projecting that to keep this mundane, this loop alive. You're expending your energy to keep that in existence. So it's always best that if you're in these groups, create the new things for the good of all and project your energy right up and out of your right side is the best way to do it. And that way, then you are putting out to create the new, or if it's something here we need tweaked up in a good way, then your energy is going directly to that. It's not being looped and then siphoned off in some degrees. So, as you know, the master of trickery was the darkness. And it's very quickly, once you start seeing anything mentioning Lucifer being of the light, Satan being of the light, once you see any of these demonic things being described as be the light, that's a red flag right there. No, get out of it. I can assure you that Lucifer is not of the light, that Satan was not of the light. And so that is a misconception. You go with what you feel, but I can say, no, they are not of the light. Keep with your prime creator of the light and all things good. Anything less than that starts saying that Lucifer is of the light, that is BS. That is not correct. And I suggest to be very wary if you're in these groups of that. And if you're in these groups and you got this kind of information, expose these groups for what they are. Because with this as well, for example, Glenn Baxter in the comments, he said there was a facet of the Great White Brotherhood that was connected to a thing like Moloch, I believe, which energizes the demonic death cults. And no, so be very, also in any of these groups, you need to um, be always aware and be very astute with anything that you're reading and going into it, because you don't want to be giving your energy away. Your energy is your light body, your Merkaba. It's the way that you get out of here. You don't need to keep energizing this reality. And any group that does that, no, you work towards a goal of getting out of here. So it's important to know that. Um, for example, a prime example, when I put out the Great White Brotherhood uh, the other day, and with the Wikipedia, anyone that went a little bit further, and a lady brought this to my attention through private message, and I just don't remember your name right now, but I thank you so much, because this is a very pertinent point. So, with this Great Brotherhood, it shows that it had good intent, and I looked at it. It does have truths, to empower you. However, what got mixed in there was this guy, Aleister Crowley. So he, and it become very clear from what I have read, that he had dark intent and it went into cultish things and everything else. And, what he actually did was using the one's powers by creating a following and a thelema or some sort of a religion, which was actually ridiculous and cultish. But what they were doing is using, sincere souls by tricking them in to robbing their energy to fulfill an ill intent, an underlying malicious agenda. So again, be very careful. You are your own power and your connection to Prime Creator, everything good. And it's best for everyone to know that. You know who your divine comrades are, and you can, go into your groups together and do your exercises. But please use your discernment not to be tricked by any of the darkness, because I will tell you right here, we are at such a beautiful point on this 4D that the darkness, they were out fighting on this 4D against you. They don't want you to ascend. However, what occurs is you're always given the information to ascend because you already won. The light already won in 2012. However, there is dark remnants that, they they keep trying, but that's all they can do. Their attempts is futile in what they do, and they cannot succeed. As you know, the light empowers everything. I just see an interesting comment come up from Chung Wei. I'll read this right at this time. Chung Wei Law. It says, as a result of the Treaty of New You World Act accepted by Google and Facebook, they have been forced to stop their utilization of satanic artificial intelligence slaves of gifted humans to power their AI. I pinned that comment, but it went up. A very interesting comment. I will look at that later. So I was unable to pin it, but yeah, very cool. And looks like, another score for the light, perhaps. Thank you for that, Chung. I'll get back to what I was saying here. So again, yeah, not of the light. Okay, in the futures, gatherings and ceremonies we are having, or any of you, um, if not already doing this, of course, we bless the areas. Usually that is, part of a gathering, a get together, or a ceremony. The area where you're at is usually blessed. But again, what I request with this is to as a group, when you're done the end of your ceremonies, you can also do an added thing. And this added thing is to wherever you may have your ceremony, like if you have it in Carolina, North Carolina, or what have you, that area, while you have everyone there, you're charged up. Say if you have 30 people at a ceremony and you're charged up at the end, what you can do is to polarize the area with positivity. Now, this has many effects with the old ley lines that were there to cut down the negative charge, because the old ley lines were negatively charged by the ill intent to allow for negative events to occur in on these timelines. So what you can do, meantime, before we go higher, is always just keep polarizing to the positive anywheres where you are at. And I also put out a post earlier today referencing that same thing. But the reason I mention it again, because as groups you are stronger and you have more effect. So having said that, any gatherings, please keep that in mind to just only put positivity in the areas where you're at. And you can do that through an affirmation that, or what have you, whatever works for you to do that. And that also assists for upcoming things, uh, with vibration, raising the vibration and everything. And what it's actually doing, it's empowering yourself more of the collective, and it's disempowering any resistance, any negative force, any malevolent force, any dark energy. It disempowers them as well, because you are stronger than the dark or negativity. You have the ability to be all light. Any darkness does not. They cannot be it. And that is one difference. And yes, you are invincible. Yes, you don't die. You heard it right here. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. So, having said that too, on the Real Angels, we have a map. We may publicize that again. Any of you that are on the Real Angels page, I believe we have close to 20,000 members, but yet we only have 100 or 200. No, I shouldn't say that. Maybe 200 to 300 actually has their locations on the map. So if you feel good with that, please put it on there, because there will be many future gatherings, by many. And at this time, I will say, any of you, yeah, continue having your gatherings, your get-togethers, and all of this. It's as you know, everything we do, it just keeps getting better and better. We keep raising the vibration, again, with your human resonance and anything else that you may look at any of the surface gauges. You keep an eye on them, you see good things occurring. Okay, that's great. So at this point, I'll take some questions and try to keep this a little bit not so lengthy tonight if I can. Thank you. I'll have a scroll here and see what we got. Thanks, James Connors from Australia and Tasmania. I love Tasmania. Yeah. Send in Reiki light healing if needed. Thanks, James. Now I'm great, brother. Great. Okay, let's see what we got. John Smith says human resonance went over 100 hertz for the first time ever this year. Okay, well, that's great. Like with the hertz, I don't really follow much of that, how it really works. But let me say, I only need to know it's important when you have everyone speaking about it. And I look at the good things. Okay, I'll scroll down, see if we get any questions here. James Connor says another thing here. It says a lot of false healers gain consent from you, then they loop you. He says, be careful. And with this, it's always best before you go into any healing by anyone else to, assure that you are not giving your consent away, and that any energetic exchange will be totally benevolent of the light. And you can do that. And just by speaking that out loud, it does activate your own energy so that you cannot be siphoned or what have you. So that's a good thing, to follow too. Thanks, James, for that. Tiffany Elizabeth Taylor says, is it dark energy masquerading as light energy? On these 4D timelines, as you know, yes, dark energy will try to do that and project it, and they will try to use your energy to project deceptions and misleading things. And that's when it can become very confusing. And that's when you need to just trust and stay in your heart, know that you are the light and that they cannot affect you or harm you. And you learn much from it. So it's always good to have an open mind with this as well. But it's good to be aware that there is trickery out there in this 4D where we're at. We're not in 5D yet. If we were in 5D, it would be much different than here. You can have 5D states of being here, but 5D is much different than here. So there is a difference with that. Thanks. Valerie Adams, does the person know they're dark? Yes, any darkness knows that. However, let me say there are some times in the past that some can be, let's say, possessed to a degree that they don't know they're possessed. And that does occur as well. So it's you need to be very careful. And this is also, Valerie, one of the reasons that we keep hitting any mind control. It doesn't matter upon the surface it doesn't matter if it's there or not. All we need to do is just any mind control darkness, doesn't matter wherever it's at, just take it out to assist our others. And it does always have effect. Thank you. And Tiffany said, yes, they do know they're dark. Yes, thank you. And Valerie Adams, Rick, did you relocate? Yeah, I relocate, I buy, locate, I do all kinds of stuff, Valerie. And my friend Colleen, hi Colleen, just see you join now. Love you too. Woo. Okay. Jody Frietta's asked, is it true that dark and light sides will join in the future? No, it is not true. What occurred is the darkness prior to 2012 was given the choices many times to change what they were doing and go to the light. Let me say there was some that did do it, but there was very few. Now, when you look at the most prominent dark energies that were out there, that no, they had their choice. Anything left here is remnants and smaller demonic darkness that will be staying here in the 4D for this timeline that will go along for about 68 years with an apocalyptic ending. So no, the let's say when the darkness was cast out of heaven, if you will, to look at it this way, that was true, but they were given a choice, and they were given that prior to 2012 in the third dimension. They were given that choice to do the right thing and to go to the light. They began on linear time about 120 years ago, constantly given that choice. And no, each time, repeatedly, they would not accept it. So, no, they do not go. They stay on the 4D, and at the end of that 68-year timeline, that is their end. They are disassembled, and whatever Prime Creator does with it then, that is Prime Creator's choice. But no, they will no longer be a part of anyone that is watching this. They will not be a part of your future experiences. And thank you, Jody. An excellent question that was. Jennifer, and she asked, why do people who say they gave their life to Lucifer get to post stuff on the Angels page? Well, let me say one thing, Jennifer. As for the darkness, like I never have any fear, and I know what we're doing going forward. However, if you see things posted on there like that, that is a great example for others to see what is actually out there so that they can avoid it or learn from it to overpower it as well. But for the most part, Jennifer, um, our admin teams were doing a fantastic job with that. So perhaps that was in the past. If it was anything current, I really didn't see anything. I did allow it there in the past and negativity, but in the last few months we cleaned that all up and are more putting our focus on just going forth with positivity and creating the new, because also we have many that are becoming more powerful that we don't need to focus attention and energize the darkness anymore. We're creating the new realities, and that's where our attention will go. And like the old thing, where your attention goes is where your energy flows. That adage is very real, it's very perfect, and it's also for this time. So, so great. It does have beneficial purposes. Let me say, for ones, just starting to um, wake up, the third waivers, because they need to know what was out there against them, what the resistance was. So when they learn about it and can identify it, then they can master it quicker and rise above it. They need to know what was out there, what they are contending with. Thank you. And Latifa, yeah, she has pinned her location on the Real Angel map, and open group on Facebook's getting stronger. Thank you. Yeah, it is. I got one comment there. Just don't quite understand what that was. Now, Tiffany Wolford Holt. My child has moved from me for 6 months, I believe because of our energy differences. Will this all balance out soon? Um, Tiffany, what I tend not to do, I don't make a habit of it, is I don't really do individual, let's say, psychic things for you like that. I tend to work on the overall level, but sometimes I do that. And Tiffany, I've said this in an interview with Linda Summers not too far back, is that sometimes we cannot interfere with the soul's journey. And so let me say that you've been separated from your child for 6 months, but if you trust everything that goes on, there is indeed reasons for that. But to ask me, will this all balance out soon? I cannot give you any time frame, but what I can say is that by you strengthening yourself, connect to the prime creator and keep empowering yourself, it does change events in your life more positive. And it depends on how much you do, how much you trust, and how positive you are as well. But also, having said that, please understand that it may be your child's soul, um, part of their soul experience, that they're not supposed to be with you, for a length of time. And because of that, there are times that you cannot interfere because it may be something they will be doing later. And every time each one of us interacts with another, we change everything what happens in the future. And Tiffany, you know of your own prowess. So the more powerful you are, the more you affect the futures and also this now. So Sometimes there are divine reasons for separation. You may feel it in your heart deeply, but we are at the points where you just need to trust what is going on and just do your best with it, is what I suggest. Much love to your situation, Tiffany. And Hannah Velasco, she shares the last week her anger and rage had been intense, had extreme breakthrough about how to break free of the cycle. Excellent. I'm so glad to hear that, Hannah. And she says she's trying her best to be the best and work from the heart space. Yeah, it is a process, as everyone knows. Um, Before I was awakened to who I am, I also went through processes, and I learned, and I learned very quickly before I was awakened. But I do know, that it is a process, because it's something that was integrated within you, and you got to go in deep to get it out. Exactly, and everyone is unique. Some might be able to do it much quicker because of the divine time, and others might take a little bit longer. So, and that's what you do. You know that you always do your best, no matter what the outcome is. You have your intent, your heart to do your best, and trust that you'll always do your best. Thank you. Joanna Childs, she says, "Hey Rick, a few people say that Metatron is artificial intelligence." Well, Joanna, the way I would answer that, it really doesn't matter if Metatron is or not. If Metatron is delivering a value to someone which is good, everything good, then it may be there to assist them with that. So again, anyone though, when you're dealing with archangels and different, what labeled ascended masters, always assure it's of the light. You need to specify that in the designation. And and I say this because, for example, there was a false Archangel Michael. But the way to overpower that, if you're speaking with Archangel Michael, just put on the end Archangel Michael of the light. And then you don't need to be so concerned with if you're getting right information or not. See, this is a process, and in the reality of everything, when we're all done, everyone will see that everything was exactly perfect for them and correct. So it's great. Just don't restrict yourself to any beliefs other than your heart connected straight to God. Trust that one. Everyone else out to the side, just go with what you feel and use your discernment. That's what I strongly suggest. Thank you for that. Okay, just scrolling here. Okay, James Connors. Is universal law and the law of grace to command for another who does not know still, valid for others? I believe what you're asking there, James, again, that gets back to the interference with them lines, soul contract, unquote. It's good to recognize the soul contract because it describes periods. I know for when I'm not allowed to interfere. So when that block comes up, yeah, you could look at that as universal law and perhaps or law of grace as well. But it is a definite thing, and I know more can attest to that as well. That sometimes you try to assist someone, and for whatever reasons you have the good full intent your heart, something stops it, and you can very quickly use the label soul contract is what I do. It explains it sufficiently for I. Thanks for that. Great. Jody, are these dragons? We got more things upcoming on the dragons. Let me say at this time, the red dragon malevolent energy has been suppressed in a way that it's not affecting the opposite good dragon energy. So I haven't really, let's say, haven't really checked on the progress with any of my divine sources with what's going on with it. But let me say that there is some more specific things coming up in the future. And thank you for that, Jody. So that'll be something I may receive information on in the future, or more of our divine comrades, teachers, you may begin to read something on the status with that also. But there is something coming in the near future. Just looking, I got a light appeared on the table. It's cool. How long should one meditate? Arlene Penwell. Arlene, everyone, again, it's on an individual basis. It's best to meditate for as long as you feel you should. Trust that. That is your guidance mechanism. There are some that don't need to meditate, and there are some that do. What I can attest to that it does have benefits when you do meditate. And I'm kind of laughing because when I start to meditate, there's just so many transmissions coming in at once. So I try to avoid it and just keep on track because I'm connected to the galactics, divine council, and so many aspects of divinity. So for I tend not to meditate because that is my most powerful channel, and I'd just be inundated with transmissions, and yeah, you know what I'm saying. But it is great to meditate, yes, totally, and it's on an individual basis. Latifa mentions this, the movie 2012, made by the guidance of the light to educate and warn us. I'm not familiar with that movie, Latifa, because, well, she says I mentioned 2012 many times. Yes, because actually 2012 was the turning point in what you could consider a spiritual war or a battle. It's the point when the light had won and everything changed there in your reality as a result of that. And it was a significant turning point between the 18th and 23rd of November 2012. It was actually about a month prior to what the Mayan calendar had prophesied. However, the Mayan calendar was correct. Thank you for that. Perhaps the movie 2012, I may look up that later and just get some info on it, but I cannot fully answer that question at this time. Thank you. And Heather Nielsen, what do blue rays mean, Rick? They have been in my dreams lately. The blue rays, what it's best to do is to familiarize yourself with the seven sacred rays, but there's more than that. There's about 10. There's 3 that in the past could not be seen with the human eye, but Now, as your eyes are advancing, you can see more energy applications by a color. Uh, Blue rays, essentially, for eye, they have many purposes, but essentially, they have multi-purposes. For eye, for what I do is the blue ray is for justice and the presence of Archangel Michael of light with that. Now, however, there are the blue rays that are also connected to this to anchor in specific divine energies with this. There is more, it depends on your source, what you're reading here, but there are more energetic values than just the justice part. It's also protection and other, um, let's say, valiant and glorious things to that respect. But again, it depends on the individual, what you may look up in regards to that, what applies for you. For example, you might look up Archangel, or you may look up Blue Ray, and it may say justice. That's what's for you. Someone else, may look up Blue Ray, and it may say protection. That's what's for them. And with that, and thank you for bringing this up, because you also, I wish to keep in mind as we keep going higher, things are in constant flux and change. Where you may read, for example, about a cardinal, the symbolic meaning of that, you might have read that a year ago, but you may go in now and find that it has changed. So it's important to follow things impromptu like that very quickly. Spur of the moment, you see that, check it out quickly if it resonates. So it's a great. And Heather, where they've been in your dreams, there's more info for you to come on that because it attracted your attention. So that means there's something more there for you in respect to that. And it'll be great to perhaps hear in the future, what connections that you have with that and what you have discovered. Thank you. And Margie Long, hi Margie. Will the pressure, she says, will the pressure I feel in my head and dizziness go away soon? Margie and I, we did speak on the phone, and uh, it should, Margie, and we can't put any time on this, but, however, there were things I suggested with your body to do and with your diet, and I know she has done those, that you have done those, Margie. Um, you just got to stick with it. I'm not given any more reason why it's still occurring, as what we had spoke about prior. But what I will say, perhaps Margie, in a few days or something, when I have time, we can touch base again and just see if I receive anything else there. But to my knowledge, in any way I could assist, you were doing these things. So we can look at it again and see if I receive anything that may assist you with that. So thank you, Margie. Okay, so yeah, dizzy spells. I see someone said, yeah, yeah, a few of those were happening too. Hey, Todd McQueen. Good to see you there, brother. Yeah, we met at the Sasquatch gathering last year in October or November. Yeah, in British Columbia. Good to see you around. Joan Skinner asked, do you see an actual event happening once we reach a certain point? Um, Joanne, I'm not in this consciousness right here, right now. I'm not given that full knowledge, but I do feel, yes, it's always a possibility. And I look at the event as I describe it as a zero point or a flash point. And one thing I was given that I stick to in the past is one thing to signify that is a 7.2, 7.3 earthquake in Tocantins, Brazil, in that area. When that occurs, that's some sort of a prerequisite for perhaps a bigger event occurring very shortly thereafter. And so Joan, she says, when she looks at it from a higher perspective, we're already in it. Yeah, we are in series of events as well, but there could be that one big flashpoint, or we may just keep just receiving just something on that. Okay, I just got to stop on that right now. I'm just told to stop, but thanks, Joan. Very good on that. I can't comment anymore on that. I was told to stop. This happens sometimes with my great, you know, my closest comrades that I converse with a lot. There are times I'm not allowed to say things, and it's comical sometimes because I wish to openly share everything all the time. However, it depends on what I can share at what time with divine time. Simone Bolts, she says, Rick, there was a guy in here tonight that is from the dark. He was harassing people. She just blocked him. Thank you so much for that, Simone. You're awesome, girl. Yeah. Yeah, we don't need that kind of stuff. Yeah. So thank you. And Wink, I saw him too. Yeah, great. Um, Linda Pope McDonald, she says she's new, trying to catch up. Any advice other than reading, watching, and listening? As she says, all she is sure of is she's awakening. She is a healer. Linda, I have stuff on the Real Angels page, what I put out in regards to divine gifts, but also on the Real Angels page here on Facebook. There should be many teachers that are also there. I believe there's a mentorship group that's still ongoing. And we try to keep this all, for the most part, free or on a donation basis. So, there may be some willingly to assist you freely when they can, but as you know, with the like community, that it's always great to donate because of the hardships what some of the powerful ones have on the 4D. I know that will sound like a contradiction if you're, all powerful and almighty, that you shouldn't need the financial assistance, but there's another reason why you do need that for some as of yet. So I suggest, Linda, use what resonates, where you're guided to, watch, listen, read, and even more things and more venues coming every day to assist ones with those gifts. So thank you for joining, Linda. And Kathy Worley Fernie, 2012. She says she moved. Yeah, 2012, that was a turning point. If you look at many of the awakening ones that in the fall of 2012, many um, realignments with one's life, what they were doing, where they were at, just so many things occurred. It is a distinct pattern when you ask anyone, that is awakened today.